quick, brief overview of a net worth. What does a net worth mean for us as individuals? Because one of the items we all do as we go through life and create investments, in some ways we are trying to improve our net worth. So what I want to do is to talk about what is net worth and how does one calculate it. And I think based on that you can calculate your own net worth and concepts that are kind of fundamental but important to know as we start our journey in investment planning. So what is a net worth? A net worth is assets, and from there you subtract your liabilities, anything that we owe. And assets was something obviously we own, and the debt is something we owe. Example of asset could be our checking account or savings account, could be any investments we may have in our 401k or IRA, or a savings bond, and non-financial assets would include things like your house and so on. So let's talk about assets first and then the liabilities. So the financial assets would be things like your cash, your savings bank, if you get any certificate of deposits, your investments, your stocks, bonds, mutual funds. That could be, inside a 401k that you may have, or a 403b, or any IRA. And the non-financial assets would be house, your car, any other property that you may have. Our focus for this class is obviously investment strategy, and is tied more towards the financial assets, and therefore the focus will be. But I think typically when people talk about their net worth, they also look at some of their hard assets, like non-financial assets, like your house and cars and so on. The liabilities are two types. You have the short term, which is the credit cards that you pay, and the longer term would be, the student loans that could be, more than a year, mortgages, or any equity loans that one may have. So that's what we owe. So what we do is if we take all our assets, add them up, subtract the liabilities, and whatever the difference is called a net worth. Okay. Now, typically in a life cycle, what happens is that for most people, they're coming out of the school, and obviously happened with me. You come out of the school and you have student loan and really no assets that you really have. Even when you buy a car, a used car, you typically have to borrow some money. So early stages of our life, we are negative net worth, which means we have not built our assets yet. As we get older with time, a couple of things happen. We start to pay down our mortgages. So the mortgage balances could be lower. We're starting to save some money. So now we see that our assets are building up, and I think the goal is that over the time we become positive net worth, and then eventually, some of these retirement assets will help us, live off and supplement our income, supplementing with Social Security or any other income somebody would have. Okay. So let's say we take an hypothetical example. Let's say Judy, she has some financial assets which are shown in yellow box. Let's say she's got savings accounts, CDs, and these would be more short term in the sense that she has it more as for emergency in case if she needs the money, easy to access, or has some money in the checking account to pay the bills day to day. And a longer term financial assets, more like the 401k, or if she's working for a nonprofit business like a school or a government or a hospital, your 403b, or if she may have some kind of retirement account, the IRA account, and let's say she has got $50,000. So she has total of $62,000 in her financial assets. And non-financial assets, let's say she's got a house, she's got a car, so the combined is worth $310,000. So total asset is $62,000 for financial and $310,000, and she get total asset $372,000. Her debt, the longer term, the student loan, mortgage, equity loan, let's say she has a combined $210,000, and then she's got some credit card bills. So her total asset is $372,000 and her total debt is $212,000. So right now, based on just this basic hypothetical situation, this person has got a net worth of $160,000. Again, what is really important for investment strategy is to really not focus on what you have for non-financial asset. Obviously, the goal is to focus on the financial asset, and that's what the investment, why people invest money in 401k and 403b and so on, improve that, because that eventually will be what you will need for the future. Okay, so now focus will be that what you want to do as you're going through life is to try to increase your financial assets and lower your debt by paying it off. Obviously, it takes times, years. It doesn't happen overnight. But the overall, but by the time we retire, we want as much of the loan to be paid off, and hence what that's going to do is going to increase the net worth. Okay. Now, the other thing is, it is the financial assets that are used for purpose of money. Short-term assets are typically for short-term needs, and the long-term assets are typically for long-term needs. So which would be the 50,000, that would be for the longer-term needs. For the investment. Now, what happens now is what happens with say in this example, Judy, is what will make her net worth go up or down. So now let's look at her. Again, a hypothetical salary. Let's say she makes $7,000. She pays taxes, Social Security, Medicare, federal, state, whatever, and then she pays 21. She ends up at 49. She puts in 420 in a 401k because she knows she has to invest for the future. She pays a mortgage and she pays. So all the rest stuff is typically what she has to do every month, which would be almost like a fixed cost she has to pay. So about 3,042. Then she may have some variable costs that may change month to month: grocery, dry cleaning, eating out, gas, and so on. And so a total variable cost about $1,475. So, typically in a month she ends up with $373 left over after doing what she is doing. That's a good thing. So now the question is, what does she do with it? If she takes the $373, she's got choices. She can either go pay off the credit card, which is sometimes a smart thing to do, especially the interest rates on credit cards are much higher than you basically get in a bank with your money, so you want to pay that off. Or she may decide to put it in a savings account because she's trying to build her emergency fund, to say she wants to keep, maybe 6 months worth of salary or her expenses available, and she wants to grow that, so she can do that. Either way, regardless of where she puts it. If she puts it in her financial asset, then that will go up, and that will increase the net worth by $373. Or if she tries to pay down the credit card, that number will go down, and that number is subtracted, so obviously a net worth will still go up by the same amount, 373. So, so a person may decide, depending upon his or her situation, is if they do have an extra money every month, where they're going to put it. Or sometimes people may say, I'm going to put more into my investment account, put 401k or another IRA. So where do you put it? If you got money available at the end of the month after you've done everything, where do you put it will improve your net worth by that amount. Now, on the other hand, what happens if she has an unexpected, major car repair of $800,000? In that case, she had extra 373, but she needed another 427 to be able to spend 800. Now, where does she get it from? Well, she can get the money from either the yellow, which is the assets, maybe get it from the savings account, or she can go borrow with the credit card. And so either way, her net worth will drop by 427 because she needs additional 427 plus 373 that she has every month extra, 800 to pay that. So depending upon which way the money flows, obviously that's going to drive the balance sheet, i.e. the financial assets or the liability, and that's going to change the net worth. So that's the quick summary of the net worth conversation.